All right, my friends, welcome to this seventh video of this CSS tutorial series course. We'll be looking at background property in CSS. CSS backgrounds allows you to control the look and feel of elements by adding colors, images, or even multiple layers. All right, friends, with this, let's dive into what we have for today. All right. This is what we have currently, what we did in our last class. So I'm just going to go and then create the a class file for this. Let me just zoom out a little bit. Since we are talking about background, I'm going to create a background file for this. All right, friends. Just going to cancel out from this server and then we run this file so we can have this on our browser. All right, then, my friends. We are looking at background property in CSS. So I'm just going to create just this, let's say hello background. Hello background one, let's say two, let's say three. We can also say four. So we are going to create a color for using the background property. So we say background. Sorry, first of all, the CSS tag inside the head of the HTML element. So I say h1. But if we say h1 and then just say background, it's going to affect everything. So we say background hyphen color. So this is just for color. So we can say light blue, and then we see everything as light blue. But we don't want that. We just want them to have a different stuff. So we're going to give them class of say uh, one, and then alright, so we gave them classes of h1 to h4, which is h1, h2, and then to h4. So I'm just going to say dot h1, so it styles only this first one, dot h1, and then if I want to style, so this class, this background hyphen color, it is just for color properties. Like we said, it has different values. You can use the name, color name, or you can use the RGB, or you can use the hexacode value for this. So let's look at image. So if for instance we want to use image as a background, we let's say dot h2 dot h2. Instead of saying background color, we say background hyphen image, and then use a URL, parentheses open and close, then a double quote or a single quote inside the parentheses, and then we put the address that links to the image. But we don't have any image here, so what I'm going to do is to put image here. So in a good practice, what we normally do in programming is to create a folder called assets. So we know that all images goes into this folder. So I'm just going to go to my desktop and then look at this image. I'm just going to drag this image, just drag it, place it inside, and then you see it is inside my assets. All right, so what I'm going to do here, from this folder structure, I'm going to say dot forward slash, which means the current directory, then the name of the folder, which is assets, forward slash, what's the name of the file. The name of the file is background, sorry, I said background, is abu space one dot png. So that's the name of the file. So if you look at the browser, we're already seeing that it has that background already. Let's use that same thing for the body, which is this body that carries all of them. So let's say body, and then we move this, just move it to the body, and then we see that the background of the page is having the image. So we can just zoom out and then we see it's having the image already. But there are some times that this image will repeat itself automatically on the uh, uh, page of the browser, but depends on the type of image you are using. Let's try out that image and then you can see for yourself how it actually works. So we can take in other image. Let me. Alright, so I'm just going to drag this one and then use it to illustrate what I'm saying. Let me drag it again here. So now we have it here. So I'm going to change this background from Abu to pass.jpg. Pass.jpg. I'm going to say pass.jpg. If I expand on this, stuff, I am going to see that this image automatically duplicates itself on the web page. So that is when this property needs to come in for us to adjust this image or to make it look fine or to center it on our web page. All right, so other properties we can say background repeats. It's called background repeats because this image is repeating itself. We can say background repeats, no repeats. By default it is repeat. So when you say no repeat, it means that this image will just the browser will just pick one of the image and then the others will go away. So we have blank spaces on the page. So other way we can still do, we can center this image to the center of the elements. I say background position. Background position, we can say center. When we say center, it comes to the center of the page. So this move the image to the center of the page. We can also say uh, center. It is same thing. You can say center. It is same thing as just saying center. Let me comment on this, and then uh, we can also say background position. Uh, So we can also say background position left, and you see it goes up to the left side. We can also say background position right, and you see it comes to the right of the website, just like that. So we can position left, right, and then center. All right, so that is that. But depends on your design of what you want. So you can set to position your background image to be center of the element. Background image should be center, left, or right. Other one is to say background size. Is background size. Background size. We can say, because if you look at the image is kind of cut out on the center. We can say, okay, we want this image to take the total page. We can say background size cover. So if you say cover, it's going to take the whole of the page. It's going to cover the whole of the page. But you can also say contain. Contain is another one. We say contain is going to retain the actual size of that image, the original size of the image. So you see contain is going to retain the original size of the image. But a lot of programmers like me, most times I love like I said, depend on your design. Just say cover. So if you know that what you are using on your page is something um, that is fine, you can cover. You can cover. Then we can also say background attachments. So we can say background attachments. So background attachment has uh, different values. We can say fixed. Now you will not be able to see the job for this. What this thing means that when you are scrolling your page, you will still be able to see your background. That means your background will be fixed at the point that when scrolling your page, you will still be seeing your background. But when you say background scroll, once you scroll past this page you are seeing currently, you will not be able to see this background again. So that is how it actually works. But to summarize everything, what I want to draft out here is that for you to use color at your background, you can go with the property called background color. For you to use image, then you go with the background property called image. But then again, if you don't want to be doing this color and then image, you can go with just writing background. This covers everything. You can just the word background covers both color, it covers both image, it covers all of them. And then we can, if we say background color, for instance, we say green, you can see that it is green. So it covers everything. And then again, we also have here, so you can do something like this. And then again, let me just remove this background image because it's kind of making our page occupy. Okay, so in this and 4, let's say h4, we can say background, just background. Now background color or background image cannot do what I want to do now. For instance, let's say we want to use we can say linear gradients. Linear gradient means that we want to add two colors together. We want to mix two colors. We want to have a color from left to right or from top to bottom mixed together. Let them have a gradient. We can say to right, for instance, to right, comma, green, mix green. That means start from green and then red. So if you look at the page, you see green, you see the gradients green to red or red to green. So this can only be done using just background property. You can see to right, you can see the green starts, then to right is red. We can also say to bottom. That means it's going to start from the top to bottom. Are you seeing? We can say to top. That means you start from down, then to top. We can say to left. It's going to start from the right, then to left. You see now? So that is how this linear gradient works, and it works using background property. Another one we want to take note of, let's say dot h3. Another one to take note of is to mix colors together. This is not a gradient now, is mix. So we can say color mix. We can say color mix. So we can say green, comma, yellow. So we'll do something like this. All right, so you see nothing happens, but what we are going to do here, we need to specify in sRGB, comma, then you can see now in sRGB, you can see that green and yellow was mixed. We can use red and green will give us black. For mix red and green, red and green, that will give us okay, that give us like a brown kind of color. All right, for now, this is all we need to know about background property. We can add different colors to it, different. We can add colors, we can add an image, and we can center them. All right, then, my friends. See you in the next class.